Good morning and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
You are watching episode 10. We're finally in double digits, Wendy.
Yay, we made it.
Yes, of the WOW podcast, WOWW, Wendy's on Wellness Wednesday. I am Dr. Wendy Sue Massey. I am a alternative medical practitioner, mom, wife, Gigi, lover of Jesus, lover of all things natural. And this is my dear friend, Wendy Flournoy.
Happy Wednesday. I'm Wendy Flournoy, certified hypnotherapist, herbalist in the making, wife, mom, Gigi to 5, number 6 on the way. Jesus lover and lover of all things natural and non-toxic.
Yes. So we have a bunch of stuff to cover. It's almost like episode 3 of our ingredients. But we make so many things, and it's just so great to be able to share all these different, truly life hacks with people on ways that they can have great natural ingredients in their kitchen that they might not have thought of.
And there's so much more out there too that you can do. We're just trying to hit on what we think people would use the most in their kitchens.
Yeah. And the thing is there really is, once you get a grasp on clean eating, when you want to find something, there's so many recipes online. I mean, you can search online and you don't have to search for a clean one. When you understand the substitutions, just search for a great recipe that you really are thinking about, like, oh gosh, I wish I had this, and make your swaps, swap out the flours, swap out the cornstarch, swap out, the just all the different things that you wouldn't normally use in our lifestyle. There's options for everything. And so
because even if you're doing that, you're going to make it clean and you're going to be leaving out all of the toxic stuff that they throw in there.
Yeah. So anything that that you still purchase from the grocery store that is something that somebody else made for you, start thinking about it when it's time to replace it. What would I rather do? Actually, Wendy has the perfect one this morning. Actually, before we get to that, I want to last week I mentioned about the biological dentistry. Hopefully you did go and get all the information I recommended by watching the Believe Big podcast, her episode last week. But if not, the website that I found that she linked to be able to find local dentists that are biological dentists is the IABDM.org. IABDM.org. And that's International Academy of Biological Dentistry and Medicine. And the one thing that they said in the podcast is just to make sure that anybody that you go with is SMART certified. I don't remember what SMART stands for, but it is that's the doctors that are trained in how to remove the mercury fillings and the amalgam so that you do not have any kind of further toxicity from the mercury when they're pulling them out, because that can be very dangerous if they are not trained how to do that well. So anyway,
and I was able to find a biological dentist like within 15 minutes of me. Virginia Biological Dentistry.
That's awesome.
SMART certified. I was like, yep, this is it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm going to keep looking. The one on their website that was closest to me was like 45 minutes away. But, just like in what I do, like I'm board certified as an alternative medical practitioner. I can be board certified with about 8 different organizations. Yeah. And so I'm listed with the AMP, but I'm not listed with some others yet. There's a couple others I intend to get.
Hypnotherapy is the same way.
Yeah. So
there's so many different boards that you can be certified with. What I did is I went to just because I wanted to know so quickly, I went to my Google Maps and typed in biological dentist near me, and they popped up. So then I just went to their website and looked for what you said to look for.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's the main thing is if you find one that's not on that website that I just shared, make sure they're SMART certified. That's the biggest thing with them is you want to make sure that they've got that certification. But yeah, so
Very cool.
definitely let us know if you find one and what your experience is because I'm
Yes,
looking forward
absolutely.
to making an appointment and making the change because
Yes.
I
mean, yeah, I think most people our age, any fillings that you have, it has the mercury.
oh
You
yeah.
know, I know my back teeth are full.
Yeah. Oh, I've got so much back there. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because one of the reasons I wanted to find a new dentist is mine locally, very nice guy, man of God, but he was trained how he was trained by the American Academy of Dentistry.
Yeah.
And I shared with him my concerns about my metal fillings, and he said, "Oh, nope." He said, "They haven't affected you since months after you had them put in." He said, they don't affect you anymore. And then he said, I mean, we can remove them, but the potential for mercury poisoning during removal is too great, so I don't recommend it. Well, he's not SMART certified. And he is of that belief, which is what they've been taught in dental school, that they don't affect you. But I can't wait till my blood work comes back. I am one of the things they are testing in me is the mercury, and I want to see.
That'll be so interesting
Because I know Eva Lee's talked about this in her podcast, but I've heard other people talk about this with the heavy metal toxicity.
Yeah.
That I don't care if you got them 40 years ago, that you are, when you're chewing, even if it's little micro doses, you're getting that in your bloodstream, and that is not good for us. And so I'm very excited to get these gone one day. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know the cost, so it may be a
Yeah.
slow process, but it's going to happen for sure. All right. So today I started to segue and then derailed. You know me. Segue into.
That's 'cause we're like this. We're not like this.
Nope.
We're like this.
That's yeah. So keep up. The one spice blend besides Old Bay in this Maryland house, the one spice blend that I thought my husband was going to lose his mind when we could no longer purchase was Montreal steak seasoning.
Same in my house.
It used to be clean, and they started screwing around with it, and
I don't know if they got bought or I don't know what changed, but then all of a sudden there's maltodextrin in the Montreal steak seasoning.
And natural flavors. And I'm like, come on, guys, it was perfect. Why are you messing with it? So, you know, and as I always say with natural flavors, the very first question that you should ask when it's something like spice blends or something that does, you know, mustard, something that doesn't seem like there's any reason for a natural flavor, what kind of garbage quality are they using in their spices that they have to then add a natural flavor to make it taste like that spice blend? I mean, so it's crazy. So Wendy has created a Montreal steak seasoning. So why don't you share that with everybody?
Okay. So this is kind of I don't know, this makes probably a little over a pint, but less than a quart.
Okay.
All right. Because I just make what I use.
Yeah.
I should have broke it down in parts like Wendy does. 13 tablespoons of paprika.
Ooh.
And we tend to like the smoked paprika just for the extra flavor. 13 tablespoons of black pepper.
Okay.
13 tablespoons of real salt.
Okay.
Now, we use Redmond's real salt. You could use a pink Himalayan, a Celtic sea salt. Any of that will work. 6.5 tablespoons of onion powder, 6.5 tablespoons of ground coriander, 6.5 tablespoons of dried dill, and 6.5 tablespoons of crushed red pepper.
And is that everything?
That is everything.
So let me tell you, this is just totally ad-libbing. To make that recipe easier, because you only had 2 different measurements.
Yeah.
6.5 tablespoons and 13 tablespoons. So literally everything that's 6.5 can be 1 part. Everything that's 13 can be 2 parts. and boom, there you can make it as
There you go.
little as you want.
There you go.
I love it. Because really, then you could do it in cups. You could do,
You could
8 cups and quarter cups, or, half cups. And it would make it so much easier for measuring those.
for parts.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. That's right.
It just made me think of it as because I was listening when you said that, and I'm going, okay, let's see how we can make that an easier recipe, because that would make it perfect.
Yeah, because I definitely, this is definitely one that I use a lot.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much for there's so many things.
Yeah.
And I used to love it, and I was so sad when things changed with it.
Well, I'm going to make that one. I haven't done it yet, primarily because after his extreme depression set in on No More Montreal Steak seasonings.
Tell him I have a tea blend for that.
Yes. That's when I started going to the Amish markets specifically with that in mind, because I'm like, surely there's a great garlic and peppercorn or something that I can do to replicate it. And he says the same stinking thing every time as, it's good, babe, but it's not Montreal steak seasoning. So I'm going to have to make that.
Yeah, you have to make that and then test it on him.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be tickled. He will be tickled. That's so great. I love that. So what other one do you have? I know you have one more spice blend.
I have one more, and it's just a ranch mix, because everybody seems to love ranch, and I don't use it as a dip, although you could put it together with some, some kind of cream or powdered buttermilk or something like that. I don't use it like that. I sprinkle it in my soups or on my meats or whatever I'm cooking. I use it like that, just like any other spice blend.
Okay.
So ranch mix is made, and this is just 12 servings, 4 tablespoons of parsley, 2 tablespoons of chives, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of dill, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 teaspoons of pepper.
So now when you make that, does that come out like the Hidden Valley Ranch packets?
Yes.
Or do you have to add?
In order for it to be Hidden Valley Ranch, you would have to pair it with the powdered buttermilk.
Okay. Got it. So
if you paired it with an eighth of a cup of powdered buttermilk, then you're going to get like the Hidden Valley Ranch.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. And then you could, because I know I used to always make dips.
Yeah.
Mixing a packet of the Hidden Valley Ranch mix with sour cream.
Yes.
So what we need to do, y'all, see, this is why I love this podcast, because you all are experiencing exactly what Wendy and I do on the phone. It's like
how we think and change things. And
what we need to do is we need to find a good source of a good natural buttermilk, because it's very hard to find.
Yes.
We can find a good farm source with pasture raised, preferably A2, something like that. But even just if it's organic pasture raised, and freeze dry it.
Yes, to make the buttermilk powder.
The buttermilk powder.
Mission.
We have a mission for sure, because I would love that. I love my, I already love, and I get so many great compliments on my Dijon ranch dressing.
Yes, that is some good stuff.
It is. But I'm wondering, granted, it's not quite the same. I always used to use those packets for dips, but I bet you could take that and make it an easier version of the ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Yes. Wheels are turning, girl.
Yes.
We got to make that happen. That's awesome. I love that idea.
I do too. Yes, I do too. I love the idea of a good source of buttermilk, so we could freeze dry and make our own buttermilk powder.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Connie from Faithful Friends.
Yeah, please do. Because even on Azure, it's hard to tell. Nothing specifies on the buttermilk powder. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, she makes so much of her own stuff. That's why, oh my gosh, what a blessing having her close by. Because when I need heavy cream, and she can't sell it because she's not licensed, all the daggone,
Stuff.
regulatory boards.
Yeah, all the red tape.
Do all that. So I will buy, lots of extra chicken for free heavy cream, things like that. We wheel and deal,
You buy so much chicken, you get a free heavy cream.
Right. Or I'll buy the jar, wink, wink. Give me the cream for free,
That's right.
Yeah. But I'm going to have to ask her because I know she makes she makes her own mozzarella. She makes so many things like that. She does her heavy cream for me because it's hard to find. I have recently found
because if she's making her own mozzarella, then I bet she's making butter and stuff too. So she's bound to have buttermilk.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to her. If not, I'm going to talk her into trying. And her cows are A2, so I mean, that would be amazing if we could get a batch of that made up, just enough for us to make,
and try it.
For this.
And freeze dry it and make some powder.
I'll put her on mission before you're in town because when you're in town, we'll have to go visit her again.
Absolutely.
And say, buttermilk, we want to do this. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
All right, so that's all of the pre-made. I do have one more if you want me to share it.
Oh, share it. Come on.
It's the everything bagel.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because don't you make that too?
I haven't made it yet. I found a clean one I liked, but I get it in big batches. Actually, I think I just ran out. So this is awesome. Share it.
All right. Well, in all transparency, I have not made this yet myself. It's supposed to be a Trader Joe's replica.
Ooh, okay. And theirs is truly the best. It's just so expensive. I stopped buying it. So yeah. Oh, good.
So this makes 48 servings, and it's everything bagel seasoning. It's 2 tablespoons of dried minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of dried minced onion, 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds, 2 tablespoons of regular sesame seeds, 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds, and 4 teaspoons of sea salt flakes.
Perfect. That's awesome.
It sounds amazing, right? Yes. So I'm like, this is on my to-do in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be making some bagels soon.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I know I'm almost I think I just ran out in my last batch of bagels. And so I'm going to need
I told you what I did with my last batch, right? I left out the baking powder.
Oh, yes. Oops.
I realized it when they were in the oven that my little container of baking powder was sitting on the counter. I was like, oops.
Did it make them like bagel thins?
Too thin to even cut in half.
Really? That's all right. Spread stuff on top. Don't let them go to waste. They're so good. They are so good. That's awesome. I was going to make some this week for Bill for his trip, but he wants to take, I found a clean bread recently, y'all, which is always it is not low carb. So please, when you hear me talk about this is not recommended for regular consumption, because if you're eating bread every day, you're gonna end up in,
your carb level's too high.
Yeah.
If you're eating bread every day, your carb level's too high.
And the thing is too, I love to share these things because sometimes you just need a flipping sandwich. Yep. This time of year with all the tomatoes coming in, there's nothing better than a tomato sandwich with, homemade mayonnaise and it's so good. So I get wanting that. Now, usually my answer is the bagels that Wendy and I were talking about, but Bill really loves his regular sandwich bread.
Well, especially if you're talking about a tomato sandwich.
Yes.
You want that soft, fluffy on a tomato sandwich. So I get that. So every once in a while, but it's hard. It's so hard to find a totally clean bread.
It is. And I found one at the natural market. I've gotten some in the past that I ignore a ingredient or something like that just for him, because otherwise he's going to go buy potato rolls or something like that at the grocery store that have like 18 horrible ingredients.
Wonder.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I have gotten to where I will purchase an occasional loaf of something that I would not eat, but if it's got one ingredient in it that I'm not crazy about, it's a heck of a lot better than his alternative. So,
Absolutely.
but this one is 100% clean. I found it at the natural market, and it's called Base Culture.
Base.
BASE Culture. The interesting thing is they make little loaves, like they're tiny, which is actually better for your carb level.
Yeah.
But they're so filling because they're nothing but good ingredients. I mean, I've been making my mama sandwiches with those.
Nice.
And do her little peanut butter and banana sandwiches. And she, I've asked her, do you need a second one? And she's like, oh no. Of course I gave her like fruit and salad and stuff with it, but still it's completely clean. There's not one ingredient in it that I would turn people away from. So look out for that. Maybe go online and search who sells Base Culture near you. I don't know if they have other flavors or varieties that might not be clean, but the one that we get is, I think it's actually just called sandwich bread or something like that, but it's wonderful. Bill doesn't like ones that are all seeded, and this one wasn't. It literally is just like getting a small loaf of like a whole grain bread. And it's, yeah. So
I don't like the ones that are seeded either, especially for a sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mind them. I can, give me all the seeds. I love that. but he can't stand that. So some of the other ones I had purchased in the past had seeds, and he's like, but this one, no seeds, completely natural. It checks all the boxes. So definitely have to check that out.
But not every day. Nobody needs a sandwich every day.
No, you don't need all that stuff. You need to, as a matter of fact, I'll just share this real quick. Dr. Mark Hyman has such a great attitude about flowers. And this is something that I really need to get better about adopting. I've really tried to impress upon my clients for a long time not to overdo the fun foods or not to overdo the packaged foods. Just because they're clean doesn't necessarily mean that they should be part of your daily intake. They should be, special treats. And that is not a daily special treat. That is, it's the holidays and I'm going to have a bunch of people over. Let me go get the siete chips and guac, and let me go get the, not that guac's bad. I'll eat guac every day, but I'm talking about the chips. Or let me make a charcuterie board, for my guests with the Simple Mills crackers, things like that. It's great to know they exist. Yeah. But eating them every day is going to just mean you're still eating like the standard American diet, which is not good. But what Dr. Mark Hyman says about flowers, and he says, he's anti-gluten, period. And for all the right reasons, and about what it does to our gut health and all of that stuff. But he talks about how too many people in the clean lifestyle are all about all the other flours. Well, I'm guilty. I have all kinds of recipes involving all the other flours. He said, you have to realize that you're still getting such a concentrated amount of whatever that is that's being ground up into a flour, that you're getting way more than what our bodies need. And it shouldn't be a regular thing that you are ingesting. It should be a special treat. So that goes for our bagels. It goes for any of the breads, for the cakes, for the brownies, all these things. It should be a once in a while thing, even if it's fully homemade. Yeah. And he's
like homemade pizza. You can make a really great homemade pizza, but you don't want to make that every night.
No. Bill would love it if I would. But truly, it is. It's diversity in your diet. The more and more I look into ancestral eating, which we could do a whole show on this one day. We'll have to talk about this one day. Ancestral eating is phenomenal. It is so fascinating. And what that is think about what our ancestors were eating in our area when it was in season.
That's what they ate most of.
Yes, they didn't have all the preservation methods. Joel Salatin just did a brilliant podcast on this, talking about how people tend to vilify or or be all about certain, you find so many contradictions on certain ingredients. And he was saying that the biggest reason is, like, for example, blueberries. I don't remember if I mentioned this in a past podcast, because this was something that just fascinated me. You'll hear, some doctors or some, nutritionists or whatever that say, oh my gosh, eat blueberries every day. They're so high in antioxidants. This is something that we, should always include in our diet and all the health benefits. Then you'll have other people that'll say, never eat blueberries. They're too high in oxalates. They're going to, destroy your kidneys and all this stuff. Well, the answer is they're somewhere in the middle. Yes, they are very beneficial.
Eat them when they're in season.
Bingo. Yes, they're very beneficial. No, we were never intended to eat everything that is beneficial every day.
All year long. Yeah.
Right. They come in seasons. And I'm guilty. I eat 2 avocados a day. I'm sure I will find out. There's some reason why I probably shouldn't eat that many all year long. But until I find that out, I'm still going to get my fiber in with my 2 avocados every day. But when you look at ancestral eating, and yes, they put up some food, but they didn't have all the preservation methods that we do. Yeah. So unless they were able to dry them out, they were limited on how long of a supply they would have on any one of these things they were growing. Yeah. So it's really interesting when you look into that and think about how our bodies, love the antioxidants from the blueberries, but we probably ate them for 3 weeks a year,
Exactly.
And it wasn't a nonstop all year long must eat every day,
Exactly. And it really is fascinating, because when you think about it like that, then what were they eating in the fall,
Right.
Is that why they were hunters?
Right.
Did they eat meat all winter? Right. Did they kill that animal and then cook it, ate it fresh, and then let it dry out, or let it cook out to where it was like jerky or something, and then eat that the rest of the winter?
Right. Because they used to do the dry preservation, the salt preservation.
Yeah.
And things like that, so and that probably is the case. Again, the people that are all gung-ho on this carnivore diet.
Yeah.
They are doing
season. It's a seasonal thing.
It is. And what better way to stay warm than to eat some meat, get some protein. And so that's probably exactly what it was. There were plenty of times in the wintertime, they were probably eating more of the, the venison and the meat they were killing. And in the summertime, probably more fish,
That's what I'm thinking. Or just strictly vegetables. Or fruits, whatever they could find.
But also
that's amazing.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is too, and I think I did mention this piece a couple weeks ago. If you look go and just Google Martha Washington's cookbook, Dolly Madison's cookbook, any of the women who were first ladies back in, the early settler days, those women include like 200 different types of fruits and vegetables and herbs and things like that, because they didn't limit themselves. They didn't just eat the same 10, 15 things. They were eating varieties because it was whatever they could get their hands on.
Yeah.
And so their cookbooks are very diverse. And I love that, it's to actually think that, they have things with, you and I were talking this week about persimmons, now I'm all gung-ho where I got to plant persimmons because I finally tried a persimmon for the first time in my life. They were given.
And how was it? I haven't had one.
It was delicious. It was like a ball. It's very similar to the consistency of the pawpaws, which is why you won't find them for sale, because when they're ripe, you got like a day or two to do something with it. They're also loaded with seeds like the pawpaws. So your minimum on what you're getting in these little bitty things, the flavor's fantastic. It's like
they're native. Persimmons are native.
Yeah. And they have different varieties that are native to different areas. So I saved a ton of seeds. I'm going to soak them for 5 months because that's the recommendation. I'm going to try and plant them in pots because I I want to try and grow some. Um, but again, if they had a recipe with a persimmon, they were making that in October because that's
Right. When it was,
or whenever.
when it was season, or pawpaws. Yeah.
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 And that's so cool about fruits. Like if you actually were to, that's one of my goals for our future farm, Wendy,
That's
is
right.
to have our orchard where we have berries, all the fruit trees, and literally
Something would constantly be in season.
Yeah, they are. That's exactly how it is. One leaves and one comes in. And it's like that with fruit all the way across. Vegetables are a little more crazy where it's like, you plant everything and then all of a sudden, you're scrambling because everything's coming in season at once in phases. But with fruit, it literally is just one season after the next. And so when the pawpaws go out, the apples are in, the persimmons are coming in, and they actually said that persimmons like the cold. So sometimes you'll see Christmas type recipes from the old days involved a lot of persimmons. And
nice. Very nice. I'm a believer in that. I have 2 pawpaw trees that are 3 years old and they're only like this big. Yeah. I have 2 pomegranate trees, 2 pear trees, a peach tree, and 2 apple trees.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, yeah. 2 fig trees and 2 elderberries.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love it.
I want all the fruit because, it's nature's candy. It's like,
and I have 4 blueberries, but only one of them is really thriving. And I have to figure out what I'm doing wrong. I did the added like the blueberry feed where it takes the acid level down because they don't like it but so high. And they did a lot better this year, so I'm hoping I finally figured that part out, what I was doing wrong, and the other ones thrive just as much as that one.
You also have an explosive amount of blackberries.
Yes, but I now have like a whole area of blackberries because I had one little blackberry plant when I bought it. It was like this big from Aldi for $4. And the poor thing, I didn't know if it was going to live or not. I just planted it right in the little space beside my door that I come in and out of. And it just went crazy. I mean, it went nuts.
Cool.
And it took over and it started getting in the way of getting in the door. So I had to move it. So now I moved it out front to a whole big, huge bed. And I was able to get 12 plants out of that one.
How cool is that?
Now I have my own little blackberry patch.
All from a $4 Aldi practical giveaway. Oh my goodness. I love it. Oh, that's so cool. Talk about that speaks to our thrifty selves.
That's right. And the raspberries are working the same way because it's like every time the raspberries die back and then come back in, they have babies, just like an aloe plant, or they come up beside it or by it, they'll come up and you can just pull them up and repot them and you have a whole new plant.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Everybody I know is going to get plants for birthdays.
Good. I'll take them. I love it. All right. How about tea blends?
Okay. I was experimenting with one in particular here recently, and I'm going to call it Night Calm.
Okay.
But it's like it's going to replace NyQuil in my house. Okay. It is not the best tasting, but I don't think it's meant to be. It's meant to work, not to taste good.
Right.
And the reason it doesn't taste good is because it's got valerian root in it. Valerian root is really bitter, awful smell. And it's highly sedative for 95% of people. Now the other 5%, there are people out there that it's going to make hyper. Okay. So you kind of have to know you. So hopefully it's more of a sedative for most of you.
Yeah.
So you mix 1 part valerian root, 1 part chamomile, 1 part licorice root, which licorice root is 50 times sweeter than sugar. Wow. Okay. And 1 part peppermint leaf.
Okay.
So you could do you could do this and then just make a little tiny bit and do it like a shot. That way you're not drinking this huge cup of tea or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because with NyQuil, whenever I take NyQuil, I still get the
Yes, the sugars. I do too. It's like,
Because I don't think it tastes good. Well, this doesn't taste good either, but it works.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
So you could make that and use your shot of NyQuil.
Yeah. And I bet all of those other ingredients without the valerian root would probably be tasty.
Yes, because licorice root and peppermint and chamomile, they go together very well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have those, you could, and you don't want to use it as NyQuil, then make it as a tea with just those three, and then add your valerian if you need a NyQuil.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Because I have the valerian separate, and I will use it if I'm really struggling to get sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, tonight I got to do it, and I will make it with the valerian, but it's just like,
and I grow valerian, and it is because the root is the medicinal properties of it. And I dig that. It smells like locker room feet.
Really?
I mean, yes.
It's so funny because you know how different tea makers or different, they'll describe things, and they always just describe valerian root as woodsy or something like that. And I'm like, there ain't no nice way to put it. They're trying to make it nice.
Valerian root stinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's even worse fresh.
Yeah. But it is very effective.
Very effective.
I definitely, when I've needed it for sleep, it also helps with hormone balancing. And
Yes.
so, and with brain health, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to valerian root. So when I've had a period of not being able to shut my brain down, high anxiety, anything going on in my life where it is just, I need something heavy duty.
Yes.
That's what I go to. That's what I go to for sure.
It definitely works. It's not the most pleasant herb, but it definitely works.
Yeah.
And I'll tell y'all something that I'm working on and researching right now that I'm super excited about is butterfly pea flower.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Well, that's coming next week.
Okay.
That was just a little teaser.
That's awesome. Well, while we're talking about nighttime tea blends, I have been for some months now trying to work on my banana allergy. So I developed a banana allergy as a very young child, and I know the benefits of banana, but have not been able to enjoy them, because I'm highly allergic to it. I started looking into the methods that a lot of naturopaths eliminate allergies in people. And this was a long time ago. I started looking into this, but I was too afraid to try it. And basically, think about when you go to an allergist. Anybody that's listening that's ever had to get allergy shots. All the allergy shots are little microdoses of what you're allergic to build that tolerance up in your system. So basically, when you're trying to kick an allergy, what a lot of practitioners will do is to give you microdoses or recommend microdoses that you build up of whatever that is. So I started thinking about it. There's so many benefits to banana peel tea. So I started making banana peel tea and testing my dosage. And at first, the very first time I did it, and I'll tell y'all how I make it, but the very first time I did it, I had a little bit of a scratchy throat. Was a little nervous about it. And I was like, okay, let me, I'll try it again later. And I only used little bits at first. Well, I started adding more and more and would only do it like one day and didn't have any problems. Then I stepped it up to 2 days and might have a little bit of an issue. So I kept it at 1 day for a little bit. Then after my body got used to it, stepped it up to 2. Well, now I can go 4 days in a row with the banana peel tea and no problems. And in that time, I had a friend who made banana muffins that I thought were carrot muffins because that's what she was going to make.
And you ate one?
I ate one and I had no problems.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, I mean, granted, I don't know how much banana was per muffin,
Right.
but still, the fact that I could do that and not have
Yeah.
an allergic reaction, I had zero problems.
That's amazing.
Very excited about that. But anyway, about the banana peel tea, talk about a wonderful nighttime tea, and it's so delicious. I will take a banana peel. I keep them in the freezer whenever somebody's eating one. I just throw them in the freezer. But I will put one in a pot of boiling water with a cinnamon stick, always a Ceylon cinnamon stick. And then sometimes, to get extra fancy, I'll throw a clove or two. I'll throw some nutmeg. I've got like the nutmeg balls, that I'll just
depends on what you want, right?
Yeah. But always I do the cinnamon, and I let it boil for 20 minutes, and then I just pour off the water into my cup.
Nice.
It's so delicious. But the beautiful thing about banana peels, it is a natural source of potassium. Everybody knows it has potassium. But for sleep, natural magnesium, natural tryptophan. So when you are taking in that tea at nighttime, it's starting to circulate the magnesium and the tryptophan in your system, and is going to help you drift right off to sleep and sleep so soundly. And I just love it.
Nice.
And it's so tasty. I mean, so try that. Try that.
This is freeze-dried banana peel.
I love it. I love it. I'm telling you.
This is a test banana just to see how it did. So we are going to be doing a lot more freeze-dried banana peel.
Good.
I keep my banana peels too. I've never done the banana peel tea, but I will now.
Yeah.
And but I take them and boil them in water, and I use the water in my garden.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good for your plants.
The minerals are wonderful in it. And so, yeah, absolutely. That is actually one of the herbalists that I followed when I was learning about the banana peel tea. She will make a huge batch, and she'll drink it, and then she saves the rest for her garden for the next day, and takes it out after it's all off. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so good. So definitely highly recommend. Highly recommend. So
it's always nice not to have to waste anything.
Yes.
Because when you eat a banana and somebody, throw the peel in the trash or whatever, think of everything that you could be doing with that peel, or even like the vegetables with making the broth and stuff. There's so much more left to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's again, don't let yourself get overwhelmed, but just start thinking about it. Anytime you throw something away, if you're thinking about it, just research, what can I do with the peels? And truly, like Wendy just said, even if you're not boiling them and putting them in, putting the water in your garden, you can throw them in your garden, in your compost, and they're going to just put so many minerals in the soil. So, I mean, just don't waste a thing. Don't waste a thing. I mean, eggshells. I heard about a lady yesterday that she grinds up eggshells from her chickens and adds them to her homemade toothpaste for the abrasive property. And she said it's nowhere near as harsh as like baking soda and things like
charcoal.
That.
Yeah.
I thought
you got me thinking, because I save my eggshells, even though I don't have chickens anymore. I still do buy the right eggs.
Yeah.
So I do save all of my eggshells, and I let them dry after washing them or whatever, and I will grind them in my herb grinder, and I keep them in a jar because I do use that in my garden as well.
Yeah.
And I do make my own toothpaste powder.
But
I used activated charcoal.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes that gets a little harsh on a everyday usage.
Yeah.
Okay. So I try not to use that every day, because I have noticed that the more I use it, it will naturally loosen fillings and things like that, because
Uh-huh.
its job is to get the toxins out of your mouth.
And that's
So I don't recommend using activated charcoal toothpaste every day for anybody. So that has me wanting to experiment with the eggshell, because when you grind them up, I mean, it is a fine powder.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see it being less abrasive than the baking soda.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool story, huh?
Yeah, that is a cool story.
I was really intrigued when I heard that. And I follow so many different natural,
Same.
lovers.
I see so much cool stuff. It's like, I want to do it all.
Yes. And so, yeah, it's always interesting to find those things. And I mean, if you're cleaning the eggs, they're calcium, there's no reason that's one of the reasons they're so great in the garden and in your compost, is because of the natural calcium that goes right back into the soil. So, I mean, our teeth are calcium, I mean, it's perfect. So, yeah. So we won't have time today to talk about everything that we wanted to talk about as far as, well, shocker, that's us every week.
That's every week.
Cookware, but we can cover cookware next week. But I did want to just say that before we get to our cookware discussion, just like we tell you with everything else, don't let it overwhelm you. You're going to hear things that we're going to talk about with cookware, and it's going to make you want to throw out everything in your kitchen. And we don't expect anybody to do that. I couldn't do it day one. I had to do it in stages. But just know that there's a lot of ingredients out there in our cookware. And shockingly, the best things to cook on, which in my opinion is the cast iron, is about the least expensive cookware you can get that's a good quality. So
I love cast iron. It took me some time to get used to it because I didn't know. And it's a little bit different than other cookware.
Yeah.
But it's so much better and so much more efficient and tastes so much better. The food tastes so much better.
Oh my gosh. 100%.
But for years we used like the cast iron Dutch oven when we were camping with the Boy Scouts and things like that. And so I knew how to do it there, but when it came to being in the kitchen, it was a little bit of a learning curve, but I got it now.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so versatile. That's what it's like when you're talking about wanting to, declutter and have less items in your kitchen, which is something I have to do periodically because I go crazy with kitchen stuff as much as I love, to be in the kitchen. And it literally can do everything except for go in the microwave. It can go on the stovetop, in the oven, on the grill, over the fire. It can go everywhere. And, when you're getting them from a company like Lodge, which I mean, hands down, my favorite. There are several really good ones out there, but Lodge is hands down my favorite. And
affordable.
Very affordable. And they last forever. My first Lodge set was my 3.2 quart, I think is what it is, Dutch oven that has the lid that doubles as a skillet. My kid's grandma, my ex-husband's mother, who I love dearly, she got that for me for Christmas or birthday. I mean, 30 years ago.
That's nice. I don't think I've ever seen one with the lid that turns into the pan. That's cool.
Yeah, they still sell it. They still sell it.
Well, that's on my wish list.
Yeah, they'll sell it. And it's wonderful. And that was my first set, and the only two I used for years. And then I started going cast iron crazy, and like I got all of it.
It's addicting. Yeah, it is. It's addicting.
I actually just sent my daughter. She's the best in the world of keeping up with my wish list, like Christmas stuff. And she's so thoughtful that like, I won't even be thinking about something. I'll just happen to mention something that I'm interested in and it'll go on her list for me. So a couple weeks ago, I sent her, I said, Sissy, I'm adding a couple things to Mama's list here. And I said, I call her Sissy. I said, I have the huge 9-quart Dutch oven and I have the 3-quart. Well, there's a lot of range in between. So either it's something that is way too much for the 3-quart or nowhere near needs a 9-quart. So they have a 5 and a 7. So I said, I want my 5 and my 7 one. And then they also have a rack to hold all the Dutch ovens. And I was like, these are on my wish list.
Yep. There's so many options. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you have going on this week, Lovey?
Continuing with experimenting on tea blends. And next week I will talk to y'all all about, I am researching and experimenting with the butterfly pea flower.
Yes.
Because what I'm finding out about this is amazing. And I don't know why I didn't know about it before. And now I have seeds already because I'm going to be growing my own in the spring because I will never pay what I paid for this again.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I can't wait to hear about that. That's going to be awesome. Well,
how about you?
Well, because this is recorded, I can tell you what I am doing this week, even though it's not this week yet, as we're recording it. I am currently in Tennessee when you all hear this, playing with my amazing grandbabies. And now that I have stocked up our home back in Maryland of all things apples, we are definitely doing all things apples in Tennessee. And including my son-in-law is hilarious. He's addicted to all things hot, like loves hot and spicy. So he wants me to make the craziest blends of things. And we have done applesauce with jalapeno. We've done hot and spicy apple pie filling. We've done all these. So we always have to do 2 separate everythings. It's like, here's Kyle's and here's all the rest of the world's, So we have to do,
because he wants the hot.
He wants the hot. He'll put hot in everything. It's like the first time we were doing apples over there since when him and Kirsty were newly married. And he's like, Mama, you think we can put some pepper in that? And I was like, ew, why would you? And he goes, no, trust me. And I thought, well, I like making the hot pepper, the apple pepper jelly.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while, and I really do want to make some.
So kind of like that when you start thinking about along those lines.
So like, okay, maybe so, but applesauce, but he loves it. And
okay.
So we'll be doing a lot of that this week.
Sounds fun. I know you'll be having a fantabulous time.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So excited to have the grands hanging on me because they're my world. Absolutely love it.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, very exciting episode. We covered a whole lot. We will again be live again on the 30th. So this episode and the next one are pre-recorded. So again, as we mentioned last week, even as of this recording, we are unsure of the results of Hurricane Milton. So know that if anything did occur that was as devastating as they're calling for, that everybody has been in mine and Wendy's prayers.
Absolutely.
As well as for the continued efforts in Appalachia and what's going on there. And anything else going on in the world, because we love to talk about stuff that's happening in the world, and we don't know as of this recording. So.
But we'll come back to that on the 30th. The 30th will be we'll have updates. Yep.
Well, knowing us, it'll be a jam-packed one of catching up. So
that's right.
All right. Well, as always, you will have an amazing rest of your week. Find something new that you want to do to add to your kitchen, to add to your cleaners, to add to your
try a new tea or make a new spice blend.
Just choose one. Choose one. And once you start, oh my goodness, the possibilities are endless, and you're just going to love all of these things that you can make. So, all right, you all have an amazing week. We love you. Mwah! Cool.